company, ordinarily two's company, but contrarily we disagree, no matter what it happens to be.
You're the perverse one.
I agonize
Night and day with you.
to compromise.
There's no way with you.
I wish I had picked a large boa constrictor, my friend.
Are you trying to tell me something?
You're the perverse one, two's company,
Indisputably.
two's company.
Irrefutably.
How we'd embark on old Noah's Ark, pair by pair.
Not so loud.
So ask me whose company.
Whenever I choose company.
I gotta say, two's company.
Except for this affair.
You give me Maldemar.
You know what that means?
Could we let in some fresh air?
No, madam.
Au contraire. What's all that?
You wanted a symbol of Anglo-American unity, madam?
Why is your flag bigger than my flag?
It's your tribute to Great Britain, madam. Your parliamentary guests are late, madam.
I expect they're listening to a debate in the House of Commons.
You mean they might have nodded off?
Watch it, Robert. No, they said they might be late, in which case they agreed to stay on a little longer.
Are you sure that they asked for sandwiches, madam?
They didn't want anything to eat. I suggested the sandwiches.
Really, madam, you're entertaining members of Parliament, not the Boilermakers Union. Sandwiches.
You know, Robert, I'm really excited about this project of mine. And Peter and George are excited about it, too.
Didn't you discuss it when you had tea on the terrace yesterday, madam?
No, as a matter of fact, you won't believe this, Robert, but we never got around to it. I mean, they were so busy asking me questions about my friends and relatives in America and all my contacts with the publishing world and television and university. I mean, we just couldn't get off the subject of me.
You could have stopped talking, madam.
No, Robert, that's not in my nature.
I know, madam.
I know you know it's not in your nature either. Anyway, before we knew it, it got to be 6 o'clock and we hadn't said a word about my project. So that's why I invited them here tonight. I tell you, Robert, somebody's got to do something about the young American writers and composers and artists that are living in London.
Charity begins at home, madam.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
Send them back to America.
Now, be serious, Robert. This house I want to buy is in Peter's constituency, and he's going to try to get the council to approve my turning it into a meeting place for these young people, you see. Oh, and incidentally, when they get here, I want you to write down everything they say. Well, just for tonight, you can be one of the workers.
I am not one of the workers, madam.
Oh, you're a worker, Robert. I mean, trying to get out of working can be very hard work if you really work at it.
What I meant, madam, is I am not working class.
What is all this class jazz?
Great Britain, madam, is divided into three main classes. Upper class, middle class, and working class.
You don't say.
And furthermore, the middle class has two subdivisions, upper middle and lower middle.
Well, it's all too complicated for me. I mean, in America, you either have money or you haven't.
That's because the Americans are still unsophisticated, madam.
Maybe so, but it's a hell of a lot simpler.
Yes, madam. Now, socially, each class feels uncomfortable in the presence of the other class.
Oh, come on. I don't believe that.
No, that's true, madam.
What class are you, Robert?
Oh, I think that's obvious, madam. Middle class, madam.
I see. And what class are my two MPs?
Oh, undoubtedly middle class.
Well, then we've got no problem. We'll all get along just fine.
No, madam.
Don't tell me, Robert. I haven't got any class.
That is true, madam. You're foreign.
Thank you.
Just ask your two conservative friends, madam. They'll explain what I mean.
Except one of them's a socialist.
A socialist, madam? You haven't invited a socialist here.
Why not?
Well, whose stupid idea was that?
The conservatives.
Ah, well, he must have had a very good reason.
He did. They're best friends.
No, madam.
Yes, Robert.
No conservative would make friends with a socialist.
Well, this conservative did.
But if he said that, madam, he only said it because he's a gentleman. All conservatives are gentlemen.
What does that make Mrs. Thatcher, one of the boys? Now, Robert, explain this to me. Exactly what is a socialist?
Oh, socialists are riffraff, madam. I speak objectively, of course.
Well, it's the same thing in America. I mean, if you're a Democrat, you don't dig the Republicans, and if you're a Republican, you don't dig the Democrats. That's show business.
I beg your pardon.
Never mind, skip it.
Actually, madam, I feel very strongly about socialism. It lost us the empire.
What about the Hippodrome?
Oh, yes, yes. Very witty, madam. Actually, politics is no laughing matter.
All right, then you be serious and behave yourself when my socialist friend gets here.
I am always polite to the working class.
But I thought you said he was middle class.
If he is, madam, he'll pretend to be working class. Socialists are such hypocrites, madam, always going on about class.
Now, wait a minute. I'm beginning to get it. It's the working class that are always talking about class.
Only the socialist element.
Well, then that makes you a socialist.
No, madam.
Pretending to be middle class.
I think you've got it wrong, madam.
You are a working class socialist.
No, madam, I'm a middle class conservative.
No kidding. Now, you be nice to my guests, Robert. Let's concentrate on class in the true sense of the word.
Yes, madam. I shall behave myself in my customary manner.
And that's class?
Good evening. I'm Peter Boatwright. This is George Gunn. We've come to see Mrs. McNabb. Now, I suppose you must be the butler. We don't see many butlers around these days, do we, George?
No, that's just as well, Peter. Butlers and head waiters always make me feel inferior. Is it deliberate policy on your part?
I would rather not express an opinion, sir.
Oh, come on. Say what you think for a change. No one's going to eat you. Why should I feel inferior?
Could it possibly be, sir, that you are inferior?
Don't be so damned impertinent.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. I asked for it and I got it.
Now, look, we'd like a wash before we see Mrs. McNabb. Where's the bathroom?
It's up the stairs, sir. First door on the left.
Could it be because you are inferior?
Watch it.
Where are they? What have you done with them?
They're upstairs, madam. They wanted to wash the dust of the Mother of Parliaments from their hands.
Oh. Robert, I hope you remembered to put my little Union Jack guest towels in the bathroom.
I'm afraid so, madam. What a charming gentleman Mr. Boatwright is.
Yes, isn't he? And George is nice, too.
No, he's a socialist.
Wait a minute. I think you've got it the wrong way round.
Oh, no, madam. Mr. Boatwright is undoubtedly an upper middle class conservative, public school, probably Eton, the Guards, city directorships.
What about George?
Working class origins, madam. TUC represents a mining constituency. Probably followed his father down the pits.
Robert, you are amazing. You've got a case history on both of these guys, and all you did was show them where to wash their hands.
In matters of class, madam, I am a trained observer. Have I gone up in your estimation, madam?
Oh, I love you, Robert, but in my estimation, you've got no place to go but up. Hello, George. I'm glad to see you could make it.
The car's picking us up at 9:30, Dorothy.
Oh.
We have to be back in time for the division. Every vote counts tonight.
Yes, it just needs one MP not to hear the bell, and a general election will follow as sure as night follows day. Hello, Dorothy. How frightfully nice to see you again.
Thank you, Peter. Won't you sit down? Now, I hope we don't get sidetracked like we did the last time. I want to tell you all about my idea, and we don't have all that much time.
Well, we could have postponed this little discussion, Dorothy.
But from now on, we're going to be rushed off our feet.
Yes, and then there's the recess, and then we're off to your beautiful United States of America.
Aye, for a working holiday.
We hope.
Oh, that's marvelous. Well, you'll have a great time. Okay, now listen. Would you like to hear my idea?
That's why we're here.
We've risked life and limb for your idea, Dorothy.
Yes, we had to sneak past the whips.
Like trying to escape from Colditz.
Oh, dear. Well, anyway, my idea is that I want to help. What in the world is the matter with you, Robert?
Refreshments, madam.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What would you like to drink?
Whiskey and soda, please.
Whiskey and soda, very good, sir. Malt whiskey, sir?
No, not the malt. Blended, please.
I think you'll change your mind when you've tasted the malt, sir.
But I don't like malt.
It's a very special malt, sir.
Do you want me to lose my temper?
I do apologize, sir. One blended whiskey. I regret we have no draft bitter, sir.
That's all right. I'll have the malt, thanks.
I don't think you'd like it, sir. May I recommend a bottle of light ale?
Robert, Robert, do we have to make a federal case out of a few drinks? He wants a whiskey. Give him a whiskey.
Yes.
Now, here's my idea. Oh, incidentally, I've asked Robert to stick around and make notes. I hope you don't mind.
If that's all right with you, sir.
Yes, I mean, you'll be firing questions at me and making suggestions.
Is it all right with you, sir?
Once you hear my idea.
Have I your permission, sir?
If you hear my idea.
Yes, but will you stop interrupting?
I do apologize.
Now, Robert, why don't you make yourself a drink and sit down and get your notebook out and let's get to work.
I don't think so, madam.
What?
Class.
Class?
Yes, it would embarrass Mr. Boatwright if I were to imbibe in his company, madam.
Oh.
Oh, that's absurd. It wouldn't embarrass me in the slightest.
You sure you're not just saying that, sir?
Of course you must have a drink, Robert.
With due respect, sir, it's up to Mr. Boatwright.
It's up to Mrs. McNabb.
It's up to you, madam.
Well, if it's up to me, I suggest we all have our drinks and get down to the business at hand, right, Peter?
Well, I'm just a guest, Dorothy. A doting guest, I might add.
Now you see how he captures the women's vote, Dorothy.
How about you, George? What's your batting average in that department?
Oh, I'm not in the same league as Peter.
How very true, sir.
Look, will you stop making snide remarks at my friend? I don't like it.
Only agreeing with me. Where's your sense of humour, Peter?
With due respect, sir, he was right to admonish me.
Stop calling to me. You know, I really might lose my temper.
I do apologize, sir.
Hey, gang, I've got a swell idea, and it's a class one at that. Robert, why don't you go get the sandwiches?
Yes.
Do you know, Dorothy, I find your butler rather irritating. Put it down to a clash of personalities, if you like.
I think he was overawed by your superior manner. You did put it on a bit, you know, Peter.
I just didn't like his patronizing attitude towards you.
Do you think it had anything to do with Robert's idea of the British class system?
Class system. I don't follow you, Dorothy.
Well, you being a conservative.
No. Peter's a socialist. I'm the one that's conservative.
You weren't in the Guards.
Guards? No, I had an uncle who was a porter.
And you didn't go to Eton.
No, my father was an electrician in Stoke Newington.
Your father didn't work in the mines by any chance, did he?
No, he owned a few. And although I didn't go to Eton, I was privately educated.
Oh, this is marvelous. Wait till I tell Smarty Pants he's got the whole thing asked.
No, don't. We could have a bit of fun with the fella, Pete.
Yes, I'm rather fond of bursting balloons.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You better not. You see, he thinks that you're a socialist, and Robert can't stand socialists. And I tell you, once he gets
George, you know, maybe he's planning to do something with you. I mean, kidnap you or something.
Oh, come on, Peter. Kidnap George. Don't be silly.
We did tell him it was a crucial vote tonight.
Yes, it only needs one member to miss the division lobby.
Yes! It could bring down the government.
Oh, my God. Having a little trouble with the sandwiches, Robert?
I was just thinking, madam, it'd be rather amusing, wouldn't it, if Mr. Gunn were to be unavoidably detained and so miss that crucial vote tonight?
I knew it. Forget it.
Yes, ma'am.
I could get deported.
Yes, but I could be knighted
What, for getting me deported?
for bringing down the government, madam. Don't mention it to your guests, madam.
You are not going to kidnap a member of Parliament, Robert, and that is an order.
Very good, madam.
I mean it, Robert. No funny stuff. Both Peter and George are going to vote tonight.
Mr. Gunn could have an accident, madam.
What do you mean, an accident?
As he was leaving tonight, he might inadvertently slip upon a banana skin. Hypothetical, madam. Purely hypothetical.
Just what are you thinking of doing, Robert?
I was thinking it was about time I served the sandwiches, madam.
Sorry to be so long, just a little domestic problem. Now, Peter, George, I want to show you this.
What you've got to do, Dorothy, is to form a committee.
Okay, but I want to show you this.
The last thing you should do is form a committee, Dorothy.
Well, there'll have to be a pressure group, you know.
That's just another name for a committee, Peter, and you know it.
Look, without a committee, you will never get it off the ground.
I can get it off.
No. What's needed is a Beaverbrook or a Churchill.
What's needed is a committee.
And what'll it do? I'll tell you exactly what it'll do. It'll immediately form a subcommittee.
I have nothing against a
May I
subcommittee
recommend the
that-
salt beef, sir?
Why? Why do you want George to have a salt beef?
Why not?
I don't know. Just in case.
Just in case what?
Just in case. Nothing, just in case.
The salt beef, sir.
Yeah, Robert, George is conservative.
Conservative?
And Peter is socialist. You've got them in the wrong class. Now, do you still recommend the salt beef?
Yes, madam.
Okay, George, have the salt beef.
May I possibly have a glass of water?
Certainly, sir.
Yeah, no water, no water. Not now that you know that Peter is the socialist.
I don't think so, madam.
Yes, Robert.
No, it's a parliamentary leg pull, madam.
Don't eat any more salt beef, George. It'll make you thirsty, like Peter. Now, would you like to hear my idea?
Yes, Dorothy.
Here it is.
These sandwiches are damn good.
And there it was.
Rather different from coal dust on the jam butties, sir.
Hey! You can say that again. Here, how did you know I come from a mining town?
No, certain characteristics, sir, I'd rather not elucidate.
I believe that, you told Dorothy that I was in the Guards.
Yes, I'm Coldstream, Captain. Am I correct?
It's amazing. How do you do it?
Tell me, Robert.
Why don't you have a sandwich, Robert? George, would you talk to me for a few minutes, please?
Forgive me, Dorothy.
Yes, we did come to hear your idea, Dorothy.
We're all ears, Dorothy.
No,
Well-
these sandwiches really are very good. Now, what is that taste? It can't be mustard.
It is mustard, sir.
No, it's not mustard.
I should know, sir.
No, I'm sorry, it's not mustard, but what is it?
It's mustard. Peter, George.
Look, I'm
look.
very sorry, Dorothy, but this is not English mustard.
Well, it's definitely not French mustard.
A Robert's mustard, gentlemen. Patent applied for.
Okay, so much for Robert's mustard. Now, next case. Gentlemen.
The floor is yours, Dorothy.
Wait a minute. There's another taste.
Oh, my God.
Robert's relish, sir. Chutney strained through muslin.
Now, what happens to the little chunky bits?
Soaked overnight in a 1971 carrot, sir.
Okay. Now, nobody move. I want the floor, and I'm going to get it.
Oh, that's very good. I love that American kind of humor. Not another word from anybody, please. Dorothy is about to speak.
Okay.
Robert, my wife would very much like the recipe.
I'm sorry, sir. It's a trade secret.
Well, I'm willing to pay for it.
I'll write it out for you.
Robert!
You are all listening, Dorothy.
Okay. Now, I think it's time that something was done about the young American artists and writers and composers who are trying to work and live in London. Don't get too excited. Have you got any suggestions? Not too fast. Robert's shorthand isn't what it ought to be.
You mean some kind of a grant, Dorothy?
No, I don't mean money.
Why should the British taxpayer have to fork out for foreigners?
I said I don't mean money.
I know, the Arts Council. No, the Arts Council will never give you a grant.
Peter, I don't want any money.
I'm very glad we've managed to persuade you, Dorothy.
Yes, we don't want to waste time tilting at windmills, do we?
Okay, you win. No money. All I want is a meeting place for these young people. You know, so they can arrange for cheap lodgings and cheap travel and library tickets and all the kind of
The
things.
recipe, sir.
I'm talking, Robert.
That'll be £5.
I said I was talking, Robert.
I'm sorry, madam. This is rather important. Money is involved.
Robert, if you don't keep quiet and let me get this damn project off the ground,
Look, I don't seem to have any spare cash on me, George.
Sorry.
Dorothy?
Oh, somebody talking to me? I don't believe it.
What I think you should do... What I think you should do, Dorothy, is find a place where these Americans could meet.
Yes, somewhere where they could get some practical advice.
Well, isn't that just what I just said that?
Wouldn't you make a wonderful chairman of the committee, George?
Aye, any chairman worth his salt must be able to take all the credit.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Would you be interested in any further recipes?
I'm sorry, Robert. The bank is closed.
How's the time?
Flying.
The car here in a few minutes.
Yeah, amazing how much ground we've covered tonight, George.
Yes, I think Dorothy ought to be delighted, Peter.
Yes, we've definitely given her something to think about.
Oh, gosh, yes. Robert's pickles and mustard and relish. I don't know how I can handle it all.
It was a most fruitful discussion.
In depth. We've certainly put you on the right road, Dorothy.
The mustard recipe would only cost you £1, sir.
I'll have that recipe, Robert.
With due respect, sir, I don't think it would go with your favourite dish.
Why? What's my favourite dish?
Tripe and onions, sir.
You seem to have made quite a study of the class system,
Yes,
Robert.
I'm an expert, sir.
I'd like to know how you tell who's in which class. Wouldn't you, Peter?
No, I'm beginning to find the whole thing rather a bore.
A typical upper middle class reply, sir, and beautifully phrased.
At this point, I don't know what class I'm in, but I'm finding the whole thing a crashing bore. Now listen, if I can just get one word in about my young American...
We have
art-
discussed that
and
topic
right.
to the point of
And complete.
exhaustion, Dorothy.
I have a copy of the mustard recipe downstairs, sir. Care to accompany me?
I can't wait.
This way, sir.
Don't forget the lecture tour, Peter.
Lecture tour? What lecture tour?
Well, you see, Dorothy, we thought that we'd combine our little holiday in America with a lecture tour, and we thought that you could arrange it for us.
Me arrange it for you?
You remember on the terrace, you told us that you had connections in television, publishing, the universities. Do you remember?
Oh, yes, I do remember. That couldn't have been the reason why you invited me to tea, now, could it,
no,
Pete?
no, Dorothy. I mean, we really did want to hear about your idea.
But we never got around to discussing my idea at your little tea party.
No, but we've made up for it this evening, and as we've helped you, we thought that you might like to help us. Sort of tit for tat.
Tit for tat.
Yes, you see, the lecture tour would pay for the holiday.
Oh, I get it.
I thought you might.
Well, Peter, I'd be only too happy to help you and George. Of course, we ought to form a committee, don't you think? Or better still, we ought to form a subcommittee. But then we shouldn't form a subcommittee because George doesn't like subcommittees. Well, we'll just have to make do with the Beaverbrook or a Churchill. Well, so much for lecture tours. We certainly have exhausted all the possibilities.
Dorothy, you have no intention of helping us whatsoever. You are simply using us.
Tit for tat.
The car is here to take you to the house, sir. Good luck with the voting.
Well, where's George?
I'm sorry to say, sir, he is locked in my living room downstairs.
He's what?
You will mention this to Mrs. Thatcher, won't you?
Yes, I will. Thank you very much, Robert.
Give me the keys, Robert. I mean it. Give me the keys.
I want the Conservatives to win, madam.
Give me the keys, Robert.
Very good, madam.
Thank you.
You can still leave him standing on the pavement, sir. She's locked it. Foiled again, sir. The window.
Wait for Peter.
Not on your Nelly.
Peter. Where's Peter?
Just getting into the car, madam.
Where's George?
Just getting into the car, too. Curses.
Robert, for the last time, George was conservative.
Nonsense, madam.
Peter was socialist.
I don't think so.
It's true. Why would I lie?
You mean that I have been taken in, madam?
Yes, strange as that must seem to you, Robert. But then again, remember, so was I. But I mean, what can you do with those guys? I mean, they never meant what they said. They never said what they meant. They never listened to what was said. They never said anything worth listening to. And what does that all amount to? Politicians. Now, what'll I have? A conservative sandwich or a socialist sandwich?
There's a liberal helping of both, madam.
Oh.